All right, everybody, good morning. Welcome to this week's edition of Navigator's Fireside Chat. We'll hold for just one or two more moments as our last couple of folks continue to hop on and join us. Just a reminder for everybody who's on with us today, if this is your first time, we'll ask you that if you're not speaking at that moment, to mute yourself to cut down on any feedback that might happen in the background. And as always, you are welcome to join us via video if that is something that you are comfortable with and have the technological capability to do so. You're welcome to hop on video, but no pressure either. We are all here. So as I said, we'll just give it about one more minute for our last few folks to hop on. Good morning, and we'll get started in just a moment. All right, everybody. Well, we are going to head into it. Again, if we have a last few trickle on the next few minutes, no worries there. So again, just one more time, welcome. Thank you for being with us today. We're going to spend the next 20-30 minutes together talking about all things merchant services and ways that we can stay connected, informed, and inspired. One thing that we want to take a moment to announce as well while we have you guys on the call is that we are excited to announce that next month we're going to be rolling out a new iteration or a new version of the Fireside Chat. We're taking everything that we've learned from our special guests, our participants, our feedback, and looking forward to bringing you guys something really special. So the Fireside Chat is going to grow a little bit as you know it. It's still likely going to occur at the same time once or twice per month, so more details on that to come. This week, we are tackling a subject that I think is going to be really interesting and a lot of fun. We're looking forward to this one. So today we are talking about how to answer your merchant's toughest questions. This is the merchant services industry. As most of you guys know by now, if you've been on, you know that I'm not an expert in this field. I'm not an agent. I'm a moderator. I'm a marketer. So a lot of this stuff is confusing to me. It's a tough and challenging industry for professionals like yourselves, but it's even tougher for your merchants, for the people who are out there, trying to run their businesses. A lot of this stuff is really difficult to understand. So today we are going to be asking some of the toughest questions that you might get from your merchants, and we're going to ask our experts to weigh in on how they would answer. So I'm going to lean heavily on Ion, but I'm also going to pull from anybody else in the crowd today who has some thoughts about how they might answer these questions, or if they've had experience with these questions. If you're willing to share a story or an insight, we would love to hear it. So we're going to start it up with question number one. This is a very common one, and I think something that most people on the call have probably heard this question before. So I'd love to hear how you guys would answer this. So question number one, I'm the merchant. How do I know I can trust you? I've been burned by this process before. People come and see me all the time. It hasn't been a good experience. How do I know I can trust you? How is this going to be different? So that's a merchant question we're talking about one.
So Kira, if you don't mind, I'll take number one question to break the ice here. Okay, so first of all, my name is Ian Creation, and I've been in payments 15 years. And if I would be a merchant rep in front of a merchant, if the merchant would ask me this question, first of all, I would think about how I got in front of that merchant. That's really important to answer the question based on that. Because if you got in front of a merchant as cold calling the merchant, it's a different answer. If the merchant was referred to you by another merchant, it's a different answer. If the merchant was referred to you by a bank partner or a software partner, that's a different answer. So to answer that question, you basically first have to think where I got this lead from and how I got in front of this merchant. But my answer to that question is, because we have Navigator now, you would say to the merchant, hey, I've been in payment processing business 15 years. I know all about payment processing. I have a lot of clients around your business and the same type of business like you are. But today, I'll prove that trust by using a neutral technology company called Navigator, who would give you the answer that I could give you manually without having to have a person calculating your fees on the merchant account. So you don't trust me today. You trust a technology company who impartially will tell you what I'm about to tell you manually. So that's how I answer the question if I would go to a merchant call calling, for example. If it's from a bank partner, I'll use a bank partner to basically do the transfer of trust from the bank partner to myself. Same way, if you come from a different merchant, it's a merchant-to-merchant referral, I will answer that question by transferring trust to myself from the person who referred me to that merchant. So that's my answer to your question. I'm sure Mark and Luis had other answers, but I like to hear their feedback as well.
Hey, yeah, thanks for that, Ion. If either Luis or Mark is willing to weigh in, we'd love to hear from you guys. How would you answer that question? How do I know I can trust you?
I actually did get stumped by that just recently. A gentleman that basically I met, mechanic location, has 2 locations, and he said, I don't trust anybody. So he needed some time. Obviously, I spent some time, opening up, discussion, discovery, asking more questions in regards to his business before I asked for the sale. And at that point, when he said there was still some reservation there. So I actually told him, I could see that there's no trust here, that you feel something. I haven't been able to, connect with you because Lewis, I don't trust anybody. And in regards to that, I said, okay, what do I need to do? He said, give me some time. So I'm giving him that window. So I'm not answering the question. I'm just saying sometimes it takes time to develop that relationship. So I'll be back this week and connect with him again. And I will use the tool and basically now tell him, hey, use the system to analyze it. Let's start building a relationship. And I'm going to focus on the relationship as we go further. It's something I can do. It was a canvassing, meeting that I basically just happened to knock on his door.
Yeah, it's a great insights. I know that's something that we try to reinforce in some of our messaging as well, about how important that relationship is and about how the relationship has to be kind of front and center. So great insights. Anything from Mark?
It sounds like you're expecting me to say something. I usually have a lot to say. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope that I can take value and add value to, is it a Rivia? Arvia? Ariva, thank you. But I hope that I can add value, but I really align with what Luis said, because we've heard that phrase, you only do business with those you know, like, and trust, and we all have our knows on all of the people we KNOW on LinkedIn and Facebook, which probably are thousands. But out of all those people, I'm sure the circle's quite smaller for the people that we like. And then when we consider handing over our business finances, the circle gets pretty small when it comes down to trust. And so it's really all about trust. But I really connected how Luis said that he is nurturing the relationship, that he is taking the time that the partner, who I'll say potential partner, what he needs, meeting him on his level. I think back to some of the most valued relationships that I have right now, of people who lean to my expertise and follow my leadership in payments, and that have a very synergistic relationship that started from trust. And I believe it comes back to the truth that, people will forget what you say. They always will, but they will never forget the way you made them feel. And so when you come in to an opportunity to serve, and you're concerned about what their vision is, you're concerned about, the black eyes that they've received over time, how they've come to be there. You're concerned about really what is in their best interest first, and, being willing to be committed but not attached to every opportunity. Then they start to realize that you don't need them per se, and that you don't have to be there, that it's more of a opportunity for both of you to connect. And then you can build on that relationship, and then you start to step out from the masses. You start to be different. They start to see that. I can trust that Luis is probably making that impression with the opportunity he has now, that he's going to be different, that it's a different experience. He feels different when he talks to you. He feels different when he sees that you're really concerned about the vision of the business. You're really concerned about how his experience has in the past. So trust is very important. And I found in business that when you're serving people with their vision first at the top of the ladder, and you live on the world of inspiration, that you're leaving them with feelings instead of words, then it makes all the difference.
Very cool, guys. Awesome. Thank you for that. Before we go to the next question, anybody else on the call? I know we have Lisa, Danny, Ariva. Anybody else anything to weigh in before we move on? No pressure, but if you have got something, we'd love to hear it. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Danny. Oh, I think you're still muted, Danny. Can you unmute?
Me and technology, every time I think I've got it, it's like, nope, there's the spoiler or the twist. So I have been in sales positions over the years since about 17 years of age. And I've done some pretty unusual type of sales. Like I sold magazines over the phone for 5 years. I did check guarantee for a while. The only difference is all of mine was over the phone. So going in person to the merchant was not my path, but I'd go directly to the merchant over the phone, and I would build a relationship with them just by the phone. Like they never saw me, and just gradually I would gain their trust. And I would start with things like, I know you don't know me. I said, but you're going to love me by the end of this. And they would be like, okay, you've got my attention. What's going on? So that was my personal journey. And hats off to the ones that go face to face, because that is not a route that I've ever gone. But gradually I would build their trust in me, and ultimately I would find a solution for them that they would then come back to me and say, you were spot on. You were exactly right in the direction you wanted to take me. So that's my input, guys.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Thanks for adding that. You all get it.
Sounds like Danny built trust by not saying what she does, but being what she does. That she does, if she says that she's this, then she does it. I mean, that people read actions louder than words.
100%. Very cool. Awesome feedback, guys. Thank you for everybody for kind of sharing your thoughts today. It makes the conversation, like really rich and enjoyable. So thank you for that. I'm impressed with all of you. So our next question, we're going on to something a little bit different here. So our merchant question number 2 is that a merchant may come to you with something like software solutions like Square give me my hardware and my payment processing all in one bundle. Isn't that just the best way to handle my needs? Isn't this the easiest thing to do? Why wouldn't I do this? So again, we're going to start with Ion, if he's willing to kick us off. Ion, what would you say to somebody who says, why wouldn't I go with this really simple route like that? Why wouldn't I do that? How would you respond?
I would let Mark and Luis respond to that, because they are selling actively right now. So I'll add my part to the end.
Man, he's putting you guys to work today. I hope he told you that. He's putting you to work. Luis or Mark, any thoughts around that one?
So I haven't been presented that particular question. However, the way I would actually approach it is obviously the fact that Square is a great solution. It's a big corporation. However, when's the last time you saw a rep come in that actually work with you and consult with you, and that, like Mark said earlier, basically helped you with building your vision of a business? Because I really do feel that as a consultant, I'm coming in not just taking care of the merchant services. I'm looking at basically other businesses that I've worked with and some case studies of what's helping them actually grow. And that consultation that I'm giving you, obviously you're not going to get it from the Square terminal. And in regards to that, I can give you the tools and the services that you need within my platform, but I'm invested in your business because I want to help you grow your business. So I would say that would be the different trading point. I can match pretty much everything they have out there.
Awesome, thanks. Anybody else?
if Martha doesn't want to go, I'll say. So, like Louis said, hardware and software together, it's a good proposition, but support, it's actually a better proposition. So that's one thing that big companies like Square that offer a bundle package, software and hardware, cannot offer. They're supported all email, not over the phone or in person. So that's one thing that big corporations will never be able to compete. So just like Louis said, yes, that personal consultant relationship, it's really important. And people do business with people, not with other businesses.
Awesome. Thanks, Zion.
I'm really interested in hearing from other people, so I don't want to hog the call. Is Ariva, is there something I would like to learn and grow from everybody on? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I want to make sure I leave the floor open. No? I think she's getting ready.
Okay. I'm a support manager, so I have a lot of experience with agents and selling, and then of course reporting back to me what the merchant stated, and that is something that I actively let the merchants know that we are support, especially for local merchants that the agents come in contact with. We come out. So we have support staff that will come out if the merchant is needing any type of solution or if they're having any errors. Normally we can do some type of same day service. So that's something that we try to lean on, that personal touch that we can give.
That definitely sounds like, the personal touches that are different. When I think about like what separates from the competitors, like Square that runs a whole different model. And, anybody that would compete for a merchant bank card volume and that product that we provide, I trust that there is going to be businesses that I should not pursue, and that should be fine with me, right? Because there is always business for me. Business is always growing, and focusing in the areas that you shouldn't will take away from the areas you should, right? And so if I've trusted that I have the vision of this business, I know that I can serve them, that their vision does not wholly align with Square, and it seems that there's friction points or whatever that Square's not meeting that. To me, it's all about the vision and I think about the story and you'll be able to determine this with whether or not you should be competing for people who use Square. I've submitted proposals, sat down to present with, I would say, dozens of Square users. And not one of them did I learn the vision of first. And not one of them did I earn the business of. Because the truth is that they weren't looking for somebody local. That's why they were with Square. They weren't looking for interchange plus pricing that was more competitive. So there was no reason for me to compete for their business. And if I had learned that lesson and vision of how to capture someone's vision first before I seek to earn their business, I would have had that time vested into partnerships that would have proved more fruitful. And a great story to pull together how to learn a vision of a potential partner is a story about the Dutch. This man was assigned by a local newspaper to go interview a king and a prince and a duchess. And he went to the king and he asked all these questions, and he came back and he went to the prince, and then he went to the duchess, and he came back to this news agency and he was reporting back about his experience, and they said, "So tell us about the king." He goes, "Oh man, the king was great. He's traveled to this, he's done this. He was raised in this palace, and his father was so-and-so, and his uncle was the Duke of Ellen." I mean, he was all this stuff about the king. And they were, "Oh man, that's fantastic for the article. Tell us about the prince." He goes, "Oh, the prince, man, he's had the life. He's traveled the world. He sat with dignitaries and queens, and he's traveled everywhere. And incredible story, right?" And then he goes, "Well, tell me about the duchess." And he goes, I really didn't I really don't know much about the Duchess. I didn't really learn anything about her. And he goes, well, why is that? He said, because as soon as we sat down to talk, all she wanted to know was about me. She wanted to know where I've been and where I grew up and how I came to be working at the palace and how I came to my life. And she always wanted to know about me. And because of that, I'll never forget her. And we're best friends. And it's the story of the Duchess. When you go into an opportunity, be the Dutch. Be the Dutch. Be different. Be somebody who really cares about them and on this sole mission to find out what makes them tick. Because if you have the vision, if you have that merchant's vision, you are going to stack your calendar with prospect after prospect of all the cream of the crop for your model. The ones that want the local guy who've been burned before and they want somebody they can trust. And they're tired of flat rate pricing that costs them more. And they're looking for a better system that doesn't operate off of emails. So I just think about the Dutch. Try to be the Dutch.
Like it.
Love it. Love your story. Thank you for that, Mark. Also, welcome to John and Ben, who looks like you guys hopped on in the midst of that. We're smack dab in the middle of our toughest merchant questions. So we'll just check in before we move on to the next one. The one we just asked about was, what do you do when your merchant comes to you and says, why wouldn't I use something like Square that has my hardware, my payment processing together? Any other thoughts on that one before we move on to the next question? Pause for just a moment. Okay, very good. So on to our third question. This is a good one as well. So merchant question number 3 is, what is this chargeback fee? I thought you told me I was going to be paying XYZ. Ion tells me, again, not being an agent myself, Ion tells me that this type of question is sometimes what keeps agents up at night. It's what keeps you from picking up the phone, stopping over to do whatever, because of this question. What is this fee? You told me this. How do we respond?
I can start quick. A chargeback is when a merchant client disputes transaction. And I believe that not too many merchant reps who sell merchant services would take the time to explain the merchant the situations where somebody disputes the quality of the product or services and they receive a chargeback, meaning that the money that they got paid are coming out of their account without a warning. Now, this chargeback conversation is being heard more and more during this COVID time, because many people who purchase products from these merchants, they couldn't get the product or the services. They are asking for the money back, and if the merchants refuse to give the money back, they will have a chargeback. The chargeback comes with a penalty, which is a chargeback fee, normally about $25 that the merchant pays no matter what, basically allowing him to dispute that chargeback by providing a receipt, an invoice, or a proof that they provided the service. So this is a question that I wanted to have on this call because during this time, this is a thing that we can see on every statement. And I think the agents or the merchant reps should be prepared to have that conversation with the merchant about the chargeback. So that's my say about the chargeback.
Great. Thanks for that overview, Ion. Appreciate it. Anybody on the call had this question before or any advice on how to handle?
Literally, for me, it happened just last week. And obviously, I took over an account. So it wasn't on our mid. It was on the previous mid. So obviously, as soon as he called us, look, I'll be right down. So I came in, took a look at the document, photoed it, obviously confirmed it wasn't from our company. But the little bit I learned, because it's the first time I came across it, is basically the fact that it has a code. So it's actually a certain type of dispute, right? So in regards to that certain type of dispute on the chargeback, it gives you instructions on the bottom of what the next step is. So that's basically as much exposure as I've had in the chargeback. That's it. That's all I can share.
Great. Thank you for that. Anybody else on the call?
I find that generally, and this may not be true with everybody, and it may not be the right path for most people, but I find that whenever anybody has a problem, and I can thank my beautiful bride for this, because she has been very patient with me, as I'm a guy and I like to fix everything. So obviously I can fix the emotional challenges in a marriage in a few sentences, right? I mean, that makes perfect sense. How I can just automatically, Ariva looks like she knows what I'm talking about. Of course not, that's foolish. But I learned through my wife, empathy is king. Empathy is king is that when you understand how people feel, you really can truly appreciate where people are coming from. It makes it a lot easier because to help them where they're at. Because most of the phone calls I get about chargebacks, fees that are valid, they're not looking for a mathematical solution. They're not looking for me to tell them X, Y, Z. Like, yeah, sweetheart, I know you're not happy, so stop doing this and then you'll be happy. Problem solved, right? And so because really it's how people feel, it's what the way they make them feel. And when you get down on your knees with a business owner who fights tooth and nail for every penny they make, who has invested their life savings or a second mortgage to open up that restaurant they wanted to for their whole life. Looking at a $30, $40, $50 chargeback that's going to claw back a $100 transaction that's going to take time that they don't have. I'm not sure solving their problem is really what they're looking for. And that may be the case. Maybe they're looking for a flat-out explanation, but I found that just seeking to empathize and understand how they feel will solve more problems than anything, that you just step on their side of the fence. And there's a great book about it, and it's Negotiate Like as if your life depends on it. And it's written by a guy who was the head negotiator for the FBI for 25 years. I have his Audible. I've listened to it 3 times. I've read the book twice. It is a powerful book, but he talks about mirroring. And mirroring is used in many ways, but it's really just really siding with them, understanding what's problems, and that when they get this letter, they go, here we go, got this new guy, and I got this new fee, and here we go. I see it as an opportunity to really connect, really emotionally connect to those you serve. And so you do that by repeating it back, by using phrases that really convey the language that's in alignment with that. Like, so it sounds like you're saying that you got this charge back and you want to know where it's coming from. No, I know where it's coming from. I just don't know what's going on, like why I get charged this. So are you saying that this is happening and it's bothering you because it's the amount? Well, yeah, kind of. And then they express more. And then, well, you see, one time I had this happen and they took $150 and then it overdrew my account, and then I thought it was fraud and it cost me weeks. And so it sounds like what you're really saying is that you just really want to know that this is going to get taken care of, that you need some help working through this. Yeah, Mark, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Oh, okay, yeah, well, I'm your guy. You called the right guy. Luckily, you're with the right man. You got the right person for the job. And then you've nailed it. And then you've really gotten down to what their problem really is. It's not just a letter. And then you really connect. And then they start to have a transformational experience with a simple phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Is that too much?
That's good. Thanks.
Very good. Appreciate it. I also, again, I'm going to pull an eye on here. If that's Ben Schmink down in the corner, I don't see his camera, but if that's Ben, I would love to hear what Ben thinks, as I know he has been in the industry for a long time. And again, it's chargeback issue. What do you do when somebody brings that up, and how do you handle that? So I'm just pause and see if he's available. If he's
I'm available. Can you hear me okay? My camera's not working, but I'm here.
Okay, cool.
I agree with the sentiment behind all of it. I think the reason why most merchants get upset about chargebacks and chargebacks fees is because they don't have somebody who's transparent with them about it. I mean, even if you went through the entire fee schedule and you were honest as can be about all these things, if 6 months went by and never saw a chargeback fee, certainly they didn't remember that it was there. But really, it's just like everything else in our business. It's all about being brave enough to be transparent. So when the customer calls you, you answer, you respond with empathy, like was just talked about. If they want an explanation, I use the word penalty there. I would actually avoid the word penalty, because in this case, if you explain the process, there's human beings involved. There's somebody actually has to retrieve the data from that transaction physically, and someone has to communicate with the card issuing bank, who is therefore talking to the actual card holder. So, unlike a regular transaction, which is 100% automated, no human beings involved, just computers and banks talking to each other electronically, a chargeback suddenly involves 5 or 6 people shuffling physical paper around from cubicle to cubicle. So a $15 fee or a $25 fee, just covers the cost of all of that. And I've probably told a million merchants when they call about this particular situation, the truth. This is the worst part of my job is dealing with customers who have chargebacks, because it's such a bummer. You'd think that your merchandise was sold, or the food was eaten, or the package was shipped, and you got paid and they got the package, and that's the end of that. Well, unfortunately, with credit cards, it's not the case. It is kind of the elephant in the room when it comes to the trust factor of credit in general. Is that nothing in the world of credit cards, nothing is really 100% permanent, because people still have the right to dispute things, and it is the part about plastic that isn't a miracle. With cash, the transaction is done, and if they want their money back, they have to come talk to you face to face. However, you can lose cash, you can get your till robbed from cash, you can have your entire bank deposit missing, it can fall out the door as you're driving to the bank. There's a million things that can go wrong with cash. Well, this is the one thing that can go wrong with credit. And the worst part about it is it's a surprise when it happens. So again, by showing empathy, like we just talked about, and not being defensive, but being transparent and explaining all the stuff that happens behind the scenes, I've never had anybody get upset about the $25 chargeback fee. I also pepper that with, most of the time the merchants win these disputes. So, what can I do to help you get the data together so we can fight this? And, I've sat with merchants and I've looked at just some situations which the merchant should have just known better. They just should have known better. Someone told me one time, all I saw was dollar signs. I didn't see any warning signs. So we had a good long hour conversation about how to avoid obvious fraud, which they were a victim of, but really based on their own bad decision making. Again, I've never lost a client, and I've done nothing but built a stronger relationship with them by being transparent with these types of hiccups. And everybody leaves educated, and the merchant is that much more solidly in my camp, because we came together over it, as opposed to me being the enemy.
Well, sorry. Yeah, thanks, Ben. Really appreciate those insights. Sounds like we did strike a little bit of a chord with this one. I really have been interested to hear all of your responses, and to see a lot of the commonality that this is a thing that y'all go through. Anybody else before we move to the next question? Yeah, go ahead, Danny. Oh, you're going to have to unmute. There you go. You're not muted? We can't hear you. Nothing. All right. Well, we'll give you a second. I'm not sure. We'll give you a second. And I did also just want to note that it is 11:30. This is usually when we wrap. We have 1 or 2 more questions, and I think we're going to stay on. Ion and I are good to go if anybody needs to jump off, because we are at time. No problem. We appreciate you being here. But we do have 2 more. But before I go to the next question, I'm going to see if we can hear Danny yet. You give it a try? No, we got nothing. Sorry about that. You can always pull a Mark Brown and leave something in the comments. Just so you guys know, Mark did leave a comment up top that I believe contains the name of that book that he mentioned earlier. So feel free to use that chat option at any time. So we're going to go on to our second to last question. And this is a very current question that we're going to look at. So the merchant's next question is, COVID changed everything for me. Now I have to do different stuff. I have to take payments on my website. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. So merchants who you've maybe been with and have a relationship for a while now have to suddenly start changing their operations and they have no idea where to start. How do you help them? And I'm particularly interested to hear this question. I work in marketing and sometimes people come and ask me for help, but they don't necessarily have everything in place that they need to do what they have to do. So how do you have that conversation? How do you help that merchant? I'm going to ask Ion if he'll start us off.
This is a difficult time, and the first word that comes to mind is, first of all, to show empathy for the current situation with the merchant and be on his side and act as a consultant and help him adapt to the new conditions and make a change and adopt new technology, change the way he's selling, change the way he's marketing. We are humans, and humans are the best at adapting to new conditions. So again, all starts with empathy and then help them adopt and provide new technology and new ways of growing their business. That's what I would do, but these guys are in the field every day. I'll let them answer.
I'll start. Basically, you guys who have a location, he's a tint, window tint specialist, and in regards to that, yeah, it changed his business. He's not getting as much work and stuff like that. However, in discovery, basically sitting down, kind of learning what are you seeing? How can we, approach this? And in that discovery session, just asking questions and pulling more information out. Basically, what we found is obviously the foundational stuff in regards to his marketing is really where he needed to work on to get that presence. So photos, things of that nature. So I'm helping him basically come up with a foundational plan to help his listings expand more than his city and expand into other areas. Because I come from a marketing background, obviously I can consult and help him with that. I'm doing some stuff on the freemium level. Again, just being empathetic in regards to, how things have changed in regards to his income that's coming in. But obviously I want the account to be as busy as possible. So I'm helping him with that. And in the end, hopefully what'll come of it is obviously a testimonial case study that I can basically kind of just expand on going forward. That's what I'm doing right now. It's working. And in regards to that, again, trying to get some referrals for other people that he might be able to refer me. That's how I'm approaching that aspect of it.
Yeah, sounds like a wise approach to me. Others on the call, anybody else approached, have you been approached by a merchant or, with this like just dilemma, what the heck do I do? Or do you have any thoughts, about how we could help each other answer that question?
What a great opportunity it is when they even call you, right? One of the experiences that I just really threw me back with my first merchant relationship as a provider was that I was with my trainer at the time, and he got a phone call from somebody he just installed the week previous, and they were asking a question that he couldn't answer. It was something to do with, I don't even remember what it was. But it was a question that only the processor could answer. He didn't have the information to answer that question. And he hung up the phone, and I will always remember the irritated look on his face, that he was annoyed that this new business partner of his, who he labeled merchant, had called them with a question that he felt he shouldn't have had. And I just remember thinking, wow, how unfortunate that, because the opportunity is always and I decided to run a different route, and it's made all the difference for me, that I wanted to first train them so that I got all the right phone calls. So I took it as an opportunity that if you ever need anything, call me. And the second thing is how great is it that they call you, that you have something that they can go off of, and be excited about that. And I like how Luis said, reconnect with them, sit back down, get the vision of that, get that part so what they see. And then it's very easy to solve that problem. Well, and one of the examples that I have was Chad Martin, who owns Circa 1918 down in Newport News, Old Town. He's an incredible chef. He has a high-ticket, small restaurant. It's been around for 20 years. He called me 3 or 4 days after the pandemic shut down Virginia. And he said, Mark, I got to go mobile. We got to go mobile. We got to go online. What do I got to do to make this happen? And he's a type A chef. I mean, most chefs are, kind of pompous, arrogant, but Chad he's just to get it done. I mean, he's running a business. He's a well-respected, renowned chef. So but he just said that to me, and I took that in gratitude. Was I busy? I think we all were, right? Everybody was kind of hectic, but I drove down there, set up new equipment, and took care of all of it side by side, like Louise has talked about, being partners, being real business partners. And the wow factor that Chad experienced came through on the subsequent 3 referrals that he gave me after we've been partners for over 4 years. So, and it was because we provide a done-for-you solution. That's just what we do, but that's what we've chosen to do our model. But I think that when you look at the opportunity that they're even calling you, you capture the vision, like Luis had hinted to, and then you back it up by taking care of business for them. These merchants now, these business partners now become a very trusted advisor, that you are scaling your relationship with them, that it may have started on bank card savings, even more to POS solutions. But now you're becoming an expert in payments. And if it has anything to do with money moving through their business, they want to call you, which I'm okay with. Call me up. I'd love to talk about how that conversation. And if you don't want them calling you, just give them my number. Just send them over here. I'll be glad to help them.
Awesome. Very good. Hearing a lot of common threads in here too, again, about this building these relationships, kind of the slow burn, and just this idea of offering something above and beyond dollars and cents, going beyond business and kind of offering that consultation, offering those services, offering that guidance. Stuff's invaluable. You can't pay for it. So anybody else on that question before we head to our last one? Hey, Danny, welcome back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Perfect. So yeah, anything to weigh in on, Danny? Because I know we kind of lost you visually as well as auditorially for a few moments. Anything to weigh in?
I had to restart everything. I have a love-hate relationship with technology. So I love it, and sometimes it doesn't love me back. But there's a few things that I'll just do real quickly.
Absolutely.
And Mark, you have to be my forever friend moving forward, because you pull thoughts out of my head before I can even say them. So if you would connect with me, I feel that would be pretty amazing. So that's the first thing. And then the next piece that I want to add to it is treat others as you want to be treated. Now, we're all human. Okay, hopefully. And we put our pants on one leg at a time. So if we can connect with whoever it is that we're trying to give a solution to, and they come to us and they're up in arms and they're afraid and they're scared. If we can help and sit with them and let them know, you know what? I hear you. That is one of the most powerful things we can do right now, is being in that moment with them. And this plugs in anywhere, is what I'm finding as we're moving through this. And, it's just very powerful, and they're going to remember. And that's one of the things that Mark, Louis, and Ian brought up, is the fact that, and Ben is the fact that if you're real, if you're your true self, and you're there to help, and you will listen to them when they're ranting and raving, and not hold it against them. These are all things that at the end of the day, we just all want to make it through this, bottom line. So how are we going to help one another to accomplish that? And that's what I have to say.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Danny. So glad you're able to get back in and weigh in for us. Appreciate that. So we have one more technical question, and then we'll have a community closer question if everybody's still okay to hang in. We're running over today, but I'm loving it. I'm good with it. So our last technical question is, this is kind of similar to the Square question. So I'm a merchant. I have a representative in my bank who helped me get my business account set up. I have a bank account. They're going to do my payment processing for me. Why wouldn't I do that? Like I already have a bank. Why do I need you? Because they do these things. So how do we answer this question when the merchant comes back to you or the prospect comes back to you and says, I have a bank already. I don't need that. Ion, if you wouldn't mind, start with Ion.
I'll give you my quick answer. I started my career 15 years ago working with the bank. And again, bank is the institution that merchants trust the most with their money, because the banks are keeping their cash, the banks are giving their loans. So that's why most of the merchants, I would say 50%, ask for a merchant account from their bank partner. But one thing I used to tell my clients when I left the bank was the merchant rep from the bank is a partner of the bank. He doesn't own that business. When you work with a merchant rep that doesn't work for the bank, he owns the business and he probably will service you better than the bank. So that's the short answer to the question I would give them if I would not work for the bank. So I'll let the guys answer the question as well.
So I don't really have like a straight answer. All I can say is that in certain situations, such as Ian said, the bank rep put a solution in place that maybe didn't match the business. If that situation is there, as it was for HVAC company, he had basically Clover devices, yet he needed a mobile solution. So obviously they're not able to customize to what the business needs. And I might share that story with others. Obviously, besides that, which is not having the right solution for the business for them to be efficient and work the way they need to, would be basically the transparency and the statement analysis. One of the things I've done, because I've only been in the business here just basically about 8 months, so still learning. And in regards to obviously the transparency and the statement, kind of dissecting it and let them know, you know what, you can negotiate with me here. I can actually work with you in this area. And I've learned to be basically good with the solution, but not give away all the margin, as time goes on. I'm still learning. That's why I was here at the Fire Chat. Thank you for letting me contribute, but hopefully it's been something of a benefit what I've contributed. But again, my experience level is not there yet. I'm working on it every day.
Absolutely. It's still super beneficial. And even just having people who are joining us at different walks in their merchant services journey is hugely impactful for everybody on the call. So absolutely appreciate everything you shared with us today. So thank you for that. Anybody else on this question about the bank question before we move on to the last one? Okay, well then my last question for you is this. I would love to know, for our last question today, what is the biggest lesson taught to you specifically by this industry? I'm thinking about, as you guys know, I'm not a merchant service agent. I've had a very storied career. I worked with kids for a whole bunch of years in college. I worked in restaurants and in training. Restaurants taught me how to work hard. They taught me how to get yelled at in my face and not go home and cry and then be able to sleep at night, when people are nasty to you. So I would let you know, these are just really simple examples of things I've learned from different parts of my career. So what is the biggest thing that this industry has taught you that you wouldn't mind sharing with the others on the call? This is a surprise question. So I'll see if Ion's ready. I've been asking him to be the leader of our conversation. So Ion, any thoughts on that one?
Absolutely. What I learned in my 15 years experience in merchant processing business is if you serve others and you take care of others well, like you take care of your own family, of yourself, money will never be an issue for you. You will be compensated enough, so you wouldn't have to worry about money. So think serving others first, and then by doing that, you're going to take care of yourself.
Beautiful, thank you. Anybody else willing to share something that this industry has taught them?
I want to echo right behind that with Ion. There's been a lot of, it sounds like everybody most of the people who have chimed in on the call are all in different places in the industry. Louis just starting out, Ion, well experienced, Kira from a marketing perspective. Ariva as well, from a service side perspective. And so, I want to add value in everything I contribute, but, there's so many things that I've learned, just building Orange Sock that I would not trade for my life, the value of learning how to be persistent in outside sales, all the lessons learned, the way that refines your personality. It demands that you question the imperfections of your demeanor, who you are, everything. It will challenge your ability to trust yourself, your confidence, and wouldn't trade any of those for anything. Like, really, they become quite valued treasures. But coming right off of what Ion said, I was thinking that exact thing. But if you had to bring it to a point, everything that I've been rewarded with today, the days that I'm able to cancel my appointments and go down to the beach with my children, the days that, if I have a family member in need, that I don't have to call in and ask for permission, and this may not be the case because my story is different, but the principle is universal. That all came because of what Ion said, that I truly did want to bring value to people. I knew the model was going to give me the lifestyle I wanted. But the bottleneck was I willing to sacrifice what I needed to, and the final mile, the last mile was, are you willing to give first? Are you willing to serve first? Are you willing to go out and serve others? Find those people who really need you by bringing value to them, by preparing yourself to have value, by refining who you are as a sales professional so that you are able to convey that value. Are you willing to go through all of these things so that you can walk into a business and have something that will make their life better? And if I haven't been returned on any investment, that would be the greatest return I've ever seen, financially, personally, emotionally, is that you have this mindset. It's one of our core values. We gratefully serve others first. It's that you're not here for you. I'm going to be taken care of no matter what. That's going to happen because when you step out from the pack, people will run to do business with you. They will throw money at you to sign your paperwork. They will cancel any contract. They will do anything to be with the right partner who really does care. And the greatest value is to serve. It's to always be in a state of reception because the world wants you. I'm going to do this animated because I'm animating. The world wants to walk around like this. They walk around like this, like feed me, somebody feed me. And this may be kind of silly, but it's true. Everybody, 98%, 96% of people walk around with the towel right here instead of putting the towel right here. So what can I do for you? What can I do for you? What do you need? What do you got going on in your business? What kind of problems you facing? Where's the friction? What are you having? What's your headaches? What's your pain points? And that's when you change a merchant provider and you become a trusted payment advisor. So I agree with what Ian had to say.
Yeah.
Well said.
Thank you, Mark. Getting us all fired up this morning. I'm feeling it. Anybody else, since we're all still hanging on, other lessons that you've learned from the merchant service industry? Danny, yep, we're ready for you.
Okay, can you hear me? Let's start there. Yay! So first of all, I have been with Green Sheet. October will be 22 years. And so anyone in the industry knows what the Green Sheet is. So I have had the most unique 22 years because I get to connect with everyone. So it does not matter what space you come from. I'm here to try to help, and I'm here to try to figure out, okay, you're looking for this, 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 and this. How can I help? And Ian, Navigator and Green Sheet recently, was it last month? We partnered and we announced our partnership. And I feel like this point in life right now, guys, is where the really good stuff is going to start happening. And that's when we all come together to make that a reality. So, Ian and Kira, I'd like a meeting with you sometime after this, because I started having all these, like, I call them bubbles that just start popping effervescently of ideas on how we all can come together to make that happen. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you for that. Awesome. Let's set it up. And yes, of course, anybody on the call, we encourage you guys to connect with each other, meet with each other, help each other. You know, that was kind of the start of the inception of these sessions that we've been having. So thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. Others on the call, there are still 4 of you out there who we have not heard from. Anybody willing to share a biggest lesson they've learned in this industry? Ariva, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't want to echo what everyone else said, but definitely conveying that we're here to serve. Myself, like I said, I work with agents as well as merchants. So conveying that I want to serve them, make sure that they understand, like we were talking about fees, chargeback. Making sure they understand why they're getting that chargeback and things like that is something that I try to implement in our office, as well as knowing that technology is always changing. So being open to technology, that's something that we do, even with Feed Navigator, trying to do like training so that our technical support is up to speed, and all new technology we just try to incorporate in different ways. I know a lot of merchants, some of the restaurants merchants are utilizing Grubhub, so we try to find other avenues that might give them maybe a higher percentage of their sales. So yeah, that's just what we do. We just try to find alternatives to really serve as if we were that particular merchant.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you bring up a good point too, just about the technology and the speed of change. You know, super important to stay on top of that stuff. Anybody else?
Holly, Chloe, you would like to say?
Absolutely. Thank you. Come on up.
So I do more like the training with the agents. So one thing I want to throw in that I've been pushing with them a lot is it doesn't matter if the issue is helping your merchants change with the pandemic or the terminal went down. You have to stay calm and keep presenting yourself as the expert, because end of the day, our solutions we give them is just that, a solution. But if they're frazzled and they feel you're frazzled, everyone's going to be frazzled. And so that's the thing, like Mark was saying, and I think everyone kind of touched on, when we're dealing with the merchants, we're getting their vision and we're putting that personalized touch of we understand where they're going, what their needs are, and we're trying to help them get there. So they're looking at you on a personal way. So when they're having an issue, we're their point of contact, and we need to give them a level of care. But if they sense like you're also a deer in the headlight, you're clueless, you're running around with them, it just throws everything into a tailspin. So it's one thing I found, especially dealing with merchants a lot, is just staying that eye of the storm for them, that calm in the storm, and giving them solutions, even if you don't have it right then, still presenting yourself like solid, so that they know like, okay, we have their back, basically.
Isn't that a valuable one? Being that calm in the storm and being that stabilizing factor. What a great lesson to learn. Be the expert, and yes, being that stabilizing force. That is definitely, it's a good one to learn. You give me flashbacks of some of my younger career too. Others on the call, we still have John Baker, Lisa, Ben. Anybody have a few minutes to weigh in with us before we go?
I was going to launch the Gordon Gekko speech from Wall Street about greed being good, but suddenly it seems out of place.
Not today, Ben. Do you have another lesson though, Ben? Anything else you'd like to share? We'll give you pulling you for more.
No, yeah. Again, the spirit everybody is expressing here is exactly 100% correct. Especially when you've been doing this for a while, and you recognize that the benefits of being a merchant rep are just ridiculous. I mean, literally limitless income, free time. I mean, the list it's all the things that everybody claims they want is all sitting here for the taking in this business. So, so thankfulness, has to be the way you wake up. And if you're thankful for what, for doing this, then all the other stuff just, kicks in. If somebody needs a refund, you know what? If you were in that position, listen to their plight and sympathize with them. And if $100 or $200 or whatever you need to give away to make someone happy, makes them happy and takes that pressure off of yourself, just do it. And it's just I think that thankfulness spirit leads to just uncountable blessings. This morning I had the reason actually I was late for this call, I had a client who is in the charter bus business, which, if you're looking for a COVID impacted business, charter buses is the prime example. Nobody is traveling in large charter buses any place. And these buses, the payments on these buses are ridiculous. And this particular guy's got 10 buses. So he's making a car payment essentially on a $500,000 buses and does not have a single charter lined up for 2020. So we just talked about, there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing anyone really can do about that. So we just talked about the nature of COVID and how certain industries are hit hard, and we just sympathized with each other and, told him, as soon as he's ready to be back in business, I'm right there by his side. And after about a half an hour of what was just sort of a pity party, he's like, oh, anyway, hey, the reason why I called, and he gave me his entire church's business with like a coffee shop and an apparel store, and it's got a concession stand for this rodeo that they do every month. So it was just a genuine, transparent conversation, and it just continued to lead to more opportunities. So you can't go wrong if you just keep your keep it real, keep it transparent, stay thankful. Like everyone's saying, treat everyone like you'd like to be treated. How could a business fail if you continue to do those things organically from your heart all day long? You'll succeed for sure.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate that. We'll pause just for one moment to see if either Lisa or John has anything to weigh in on. Looks like I may have John. Hey, John, I think I might hear you. Are you with us? I see that you are the presenter, but I'm not able to see or hear you at this time.
I am seeing a screen share from John, I think.
Well, if we take everything out. John took over the screen for some reason. He probably wants to show us something. There you go, John. No sound.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got no sound from John. I do think we have a call-in number. I'm not sure, Ian, if that's readily available somewhere. I think there is. If you're able to call in via cell, if you're having any audio issues with the computer, I think that may be an option. So we'll hold for just a moment to see if John gets his sound worked through. I think I might see you.
Oh?
For one step ahead, I see you. Hello?
John.
Hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Perfect.
Okay, great. All right, sorry for the video issue. In the beginning of this COVID crisis, I decided to jump out and create another company called Small Business Grants and Loans. And because of the fact that merchants need money. And I formed it. I got the approval, to become a partner with a non-bank, very large non-bank lender. And, if, that opportunity, basically, if I offer them the money that they need to keep their doors open to pay the payroll and everything like that, okay, chances are very, very high that I'm going to get the credit card processing. So Another thing I wanted to discuss with you guys, or bring it up to you, the marketplace is demanding a solution, and the solution is completely 100% contactless payments. Okay? So restaurants are curbside service. They don't want to give their credit card to a waiter. They want to basically be in control of that, have possession of that card at all times. They don't want to touch a tablet. They don't want to use the pen. They just don't want to touch anything that the restaurant has. So we're rolling out a new solution there. It's actually an app where they can, the QR code on the table, they can pull up the entire menu. They can order their food. They can pay through the app, and they'll get rewards points and marketing, all kind of geofencing, all kind of stuff is going on. But we're rolling that out, this week, and I've been working out with merchants, and I had a merchant that is an aviation company, and he flies people into different locations, and they are now requiring a $100,000 surety bond. So this morning, I'm also a licensed insurance broker, so I didn't have that service, so I went out and found another insurance carrier that does handle, bonds. So I'm going to work through that process and help him in that direction. It's not something I do, but it's something that, it might come up in the future. If I provide the service, it becomes a value-added service, and it's just another way to help the merchant, with all the things they have to deal with. It makes it a good solution for them to come to one person and be able to find a solution to their problem.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I definitely hearing a lot of common threads on the call this morning. So definitely good to hear from you. Before we go, I'm going to ask Lisa. I don't know if she has audio video. And Lisa, if you're not able to jump on with us, no problem, but I don't want to leave you out. Lisa, do you have anything to share before we go? I'll pause for just a second. All right, then I do want to close. We are at our longest fireside chat ever. So thank you guys for hanging in with us for the full hour. We really appreciate you guys being here today. I personally, feel extremely uplifted. I feel, it's just been wonderful to sit with you guys today and really, experience the community and the learning and the life lessons, and just hearing what everybody is doing out there in their different corners of the world has been truly inspiring. So thank you so much for joining us today. Also, again, look forward to that new information coming out. We are not for, the Fireside Chat name may change or morph, but we are going to, as I mentioned in the beginning of the call, take everything we've learned from the last couple of months and roll you out something really special. So we are looking forward to our continued relationship. Before we go, Ion, anything to add before we close?
I'd like to thank everyone for participating today. It's exciting to have this call double time for 1 hour. We look forward to support and assist you to be successful. That's what we do here. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
See ya.